Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to all of you who are viewing at home, and welcome to all of you in the audience and children. I love the children being here. Thank you, Larry, for bringing your grandkids. And so we had just a wonderful time yesterday at my farewell party. It was just so fabulous. I said it was the best service I have ever attended, and I didn't have anything to do with it. So on platform with me this morning is Pam Migliosi, and holding the high watch this morning is Mario Lorenz. And we will be, what you've just heard is Bright Morning, written by, it's a traditional song arranged by Dimitri Varelis, played by Bienvenido Yangco. So it's a glorious day. So we're all here, and I want to begin the service with Pam leading a meditation and opening prayer, and that'll be followed by our guest musician, Anjali Silva, singing Spirit Divine.
Good morning, everyone. And it is a beautiful, bright morning. Thank you so much. Beautiful piece. So I'm so grateful that you're all here with me this morning and joining us in this beautiful sanctuary. And let's just come together for a moment and let's just do a very brief meditation. I invite you to embrace the oneness, the Great Spirit, the divine presence. Find that place of quiet, that place of peace. And let us just begin by just allowing your body to fully relax. Allow your mind just to let go of everything that transpired this morning. And just allow yourself to be in this beautiful, sacred space. I invite you to join me as we focus on giving and receiving. There may be times in our human experience where we find ourselves struggling. Maybe discord, there may be strife. There just may be a feeling of being unsettled. But at these times, it is so important that we are able to recognize the joy of receiving and the good that comes when we give. In the words of Dr. Ernest Holmes, let us remember, the Spirit can only give us what we can take. And since taking is a mental process, it is necessary for us to accept that Spirit has already provided everything. So I invite you to recognize the omnipresent good, to acknowledge it, and to receive it. For we know when we give, we receive. And then in receiving, we give out again. This is the cycle of life. So I invite you just to allow these words to resonate for a moment as we just sit in silence with the absolute knowing. Spirit has already provided everything. Therefore, I joyfully give and I graciously receive. So let us just remember for today the power of Spirit, the goodness of Spirit, and to be absolutely open and receptive to the good, to be receptive to the joy of Spirit, the truth of Spirit. And now when you are ready, please just open your eyes and return to the room. And let's move into our opening prayer for today. I absolutely know that this day is perfect. This is a day of joyful giving, of joyful receiving. For God is absolutely here. There is only one. And I know this to be true. I absolutely know this to be true. For God emanates through me, and all that God is, I am. And as I know this truth for myself, I know this truth for everyone present this morning and everyone within the sound of my voice. Let us remember that we are divinely, absolutely divinely connected. There is no separation. And I know that this service unfolds beautifully today. The music that is played touches each of us in a very personal way. And I know that Rev.Frances' words touch us, inspire us, and the love and the wisdom and the joy that she shares with all of us, we take in. And so this is a good day. This is a good day, for God is present. And everywhere God is present, there is only goodness. There is only joy. There is only giving. There is only receiving. And I gratefully and joyfully release this prayer into the law of mind, knowing that it is absolutely already done. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you so much.
Good morning. That was so beautiful. I really felt that. And I love how the talks always connect with the music and the music connects with the talks. We're all in alignment, aren't we? Spirit divine, Spirit divine, Spirit divine. I'm trusting in Spirit to meet all my needs. When I trust in Spirit, I always succeed. Energy
we're going to have a reading here, but we're going to skip because we're going to have a prosperity message, and then we're going to place that in the announcements a little later. But in the meantime, I'm going to make a few community announcements. One is that Anjali is here, and I'm doing a community festival called Dia de los Muertos. It's a festival that celebrates Day of the Dead in all Hispanic countries, and actually versions of this festival are done all over the world. And I'm chair of a team putting on a festival. Anyway, it happens the 29th of October, and Anjali has a 2-hour set in the main tent. Tapco Credit Union has given us the use of their entire facility for the festival, and we're closing Anderson Street on 6th Avenue. So, and Larry is doing the sound, so we have a whole CSL production going on in the community, and it's going to be great. I wonder if I could get Justin to come up and talk about the pledge program. Great, thank you. Did I bring one of these? Yeah, there's that.
Good morning, everybody. Just to be with everybody for a moment. And as you know, in October is our annual pledge month, or when we begin to create the following year or the next year. And what I'm present to most of anything, I get so nervous, is what a magnificent center that we have currently. In speaking to anything in the future, completely acknowledges anything and everything that's been built already. And Rev.Frances, I honor you for that. Because holding this space in this corner for 25 years, there would be no future without that. And I want to thank you for that. And any requests and anything that we create in the future absolutely does not diminish anything that is currently here and anything that's been that had been built in the past. It literally is just a stepping stone to the next level. And this coming year, we have so much happening, as many of you know. We have a transition happening. We have an interim minister that's coming in. We'll have a search committee. We'll have new members coming in to help us define and create who we're going to be for the next 25 years. What will it look like? What is your vision of that? Taking everything that's been built, everything that we have to offer to the world, a place of acceptance, a place of tolerance, a place where God can be any creation that works for you, a place where you also get to be present, that you have the power to co-create with your highest power, and that there is nothing in the world that isn't yours just by declaration. So as we go into this season of our pledge drive for 2023, I just ask that you stop for a moment and disappear everything from the past and just look at it newly and create newly where you want this conversation to be 1 year from here, 1 year from now. What would we be talking about our successes? Where would we be inside of this center? Who would we be in the city of Tacoma, and who would we be in Pierce County? Who gets to hear this message? Who gets to be a part of this creation? So in the, I think it's in the, behind everything, there's a pledge, your pledge letter, your pledge drive. We ask that you please just complete your pledge form, and we ask that all these be given to us before the end of October so that we can begin to create what 2023 is going to look like. And like I said, we do have challenges coming up. We do have a new interim minister coming, so your pledge will be critical to the fulfillment of everything that got created in 2 town hall meetings ago. So, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
So I didn't properly introduce Justin. Justin Arbuthnot is our treasurer, and he's doing a wonderful job. Thank you, Justin, for your message. So I just want to conclude on the announcement for the Day of the Dead Festival. It's on the Saturday, the 29th, from 2 to 8 o'clock in the evening. And Anjali will be performing a 2-hour set. There's lots of children's groups. Flor de Luna will be there. And they're a wonderful Mexican band. They live in Barrio de Navidad part of the year. And so anyway, lots of food vendors. We currently have the sponsors of the University of Puget Sound, Community Health Care, Multi-Care, Pierce County Health Department, and Live Arts Tacoma. So we're gathering sponsors and many, many vendors from the community. So I think you'd have a great time if you want to bring your whole family. It's a family event. There's a whole area for kids. There's a parade, and you can be in it at 2 o'clock and meet at the tent at TAPCO, and kids can pray. They can paint their faces, so paint your faces like skeletons or carry a skeleton. We've got lots of them. Oh, what's that doing up there? I have a tall treasurer. Anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a whole children's area. And we have a bus, and furthermore, there's a filmmaker that's doing a movie called Taco Man, or Tacoman, and he's going to be filming the festival as part of his movie, which will be in full production starting in January. So anyway, it's a fun thing to do. I do the ritual of honoring the ancestors at 5:30, so you won't want to miss that. And people fill out little pieces of paper. I've done it here, but I always do it for this festival. And last year we had 3 generations of Hispanic families doing that ritual. And so we also serve champurrado, which is a hot chocolate authentic drink from Mexico that's free, plus pan de muerto, which is dead bread, donated by a bakery in South Tacoma. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Come, 29th of October, 2 to 8. All right, that's my little plug. So we're going to hear from Anjali, opening up in Sweet Surrender, and after that, my message.
Messing me up. If you want to sing along, please feel free. Open your voices and your hearts. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous light of love. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous light of love. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous light of love. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous light of love. I am opening, I am opening, I am opening, I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous
So we just started a whole series for the month of October on receiving, the power of receiving. And our theme for this month is, Are you ready to receive? And we've always been taught that giving is altruistic and holy, while receiving is selfish and unholy. And neither of these ideas is really true as a standalone idea. So if we're only givers, we wind up resentful and frustrated and maybe overworked and tired. And then if we're only receivers, we become stagnant, bloated, lazy, and irresponsible. So really, to live a full life, we have to strike a balance. And the fact is that so many of us are so much better at giving than receiving. But for the next 3 weeks, we're going to beef up our receiving muscles. I got to receive a lot yesterday. In fact, it was so much, I'm going to spend all week receiving. It's just incredible. I haven't even digested all the cards yet. So it really is part of this balanced life that God wants us to have. So I've been basing some of my work on the book called The Power of Receiving by Amanda Owen. And so today we're going to look at the consciousness of a receiver, 3 steps to receiving, and some possible ways that we block our ability to receive our good. So the first aspect has to do with the consciousness of a receiver. So what do we mean by consciousness, first of all? It can be defined as a combination of our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and attitudes, values, and actions, everything that work together to be a causative force in our lives. And we create everything through our consciousness. We create through our thoughts, feelings, beliefs, attitudes, values, actions, and words. So I'm going to give you a laundry list of states of consciousness. And the first one I say is going to be receptive, and the second one is the active or giving state. And so realize that there's nothing wrong with active states unless, of course, that's where you hang out all the time. So the idea is to create the balance. So I'm going to say them very slowly, and I want you to reflect on where you stand with them. And so we'll play with them a little bit this morning. So meditating, analyzing, listening, talking, accepting, investigating, allowing, controlling, opening, influencing, relaxing, promoting, letting go, multitasking, noticing, persuading, being thankful, taking for granted, observing, defining, welcoming, judging, yielding, exploring, including, shaping, embracing, pushing, feeling, thinking, hearing, informing, being, doing, contemplating, acting, watching, performing, letting be, going after, revealing, hiding, attracting, forcing, acknowledging, evaluating, appreciating, criticizing, So a skill, did you figure out where you were on that continuum? Are you more of a giver or a receiver? So a skilled receiver excels in the ability to experience those receptive states. And it doesn't matter if you're never in the active state of consciousness, but it's a matter of balance. It's a matter of living a fully expressed life, which we're trying to do. So I want you to think of an area in your life right now that perhaps isn't where you want to be yet. Maybe it's career, relationship, health, financial, spiritual. Maybe it has to do with your family. You decide what area to look at. And remember, it's the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. But you have to have a consciousness of a receiver to receive it. Or as Holmes said in the Science of Mind text, if it's God's pleasure to give us the kingdom, then it should be our privilege to accept the gift, because all things are given to us. The gift of heaven is forever made, but we shall have to do the taking. We have to do the receiving. So, do you have your area that you've picked out? The area where you most need to receive? So, in that area, where could you be more welcoming rather than judging? Where could you listen more and talk less? Listen internally and externally, or make fewer excuses. Where could there be more beingness and less doingness? Because there's an opportunity for greater allowing and less controlling. Sometimes that's really hard to do. More revealing, less trying to hide, and more relaxing rather than promoting. More appreciation and less criticism. So just check in and see in your internal world, what could there be more of? So there's 3 steps in receiving, according to Amanda Owens, and these 3 steps help us get that consciousness of a receiver. The first one we looked at last week, so this will be a brief review. The first is accept all compliments. Don't turn away from what life wants to give you. A huge connection exists between what you're willing to receive and what you actually get. Your ability to receive something is just as elemental as a compliment is significant, because it signals loud and clear that you're ready to receive. So we talked about accepting a compliment graciously last week with a simple thank you. Did you practice that this week? Practicing willingness to receive. And when we push away and don't receive, people notice. Most importantly, the universe notices. So if you happened to be in a grocery store with a 3-year-old, and that child wanted a toy, and you buy it for her, and she immediately drops it, stomps on it, and then screams for you to buy another toy, do you buy it for her? That's kind of a ridiculous question. But of course you don't buy it. So why do you think the universe is any different? If you don't accept gifts that are given to you already, why do you think you'll receive more? Well, you won't, because you're training the universe not to give to you. So if you're uncomfortable with receiving a compliment, note that feeling and receive it anyway with a simple thank you. And keep in mind that the longer it takes for you to incorporate this simple step in your life, that's how it'll take your good to find you. Secondly, count your blessings. This is, of course, the season of gratitude and counting our blessings. To be grateful is really to be receptive to life's givingness and life's abundance. And gratitude is a state of mind. And appreciate and show gratitude. That's a way of looking at life. And gratitude is a receptive state. And the more grateful you are, the more you'll have to be grateful for. So the old gratitude journal is a good thing. That's what we're talking about. I think Drew Ebersole used to say that they wake up in the morning and as a ritual, they just name 5 things they're grateful for that day over breakfast. I think that's a good practice. So just it's about 40 days till Thanksgiving, and it's a good practice to start this gratitude practice before that, because 40 is a kind of a magical number. It symbolizes all the time that it will take for transformation. Noah spent 40 days on the ark. Buddha spent 40 days under the Bodhi tree. Jesus spent 40 days avoiding being tempted. It was 40 days between his resurrection and ascension. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness. Goliath taunted the Israelites for 40 days before David rescued his people and conquered Goliath. So it's a very important number. And the third point is to be spiritually naked. Our third step to receiving is to be spiritually naked. What? Well, I love the story of the new pastor who moved into town and went out one Saturday to visit his parishioners. And all went well till he came to one house. It was obvious that someone was home, but they didn't come to the door. Finally, he took out his card and wrote on the back, Revelation 3:20, stuck it in the door. Those of you who need a little Bible refresher, Revelation 3:20 reads, Behold, I stand at the door and knock, and if any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come to him and will dine with him, and he will with me. So the next day, as the minister was counting the offering, he found his card in the collection plate, and under his message was the notation Genesis 3:10, which for the biblically challenged reads, And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked. So we're not talking about that kind of naked here. We're talking about being spiritually naked. When you reveal yourself to another human being, you reveal yourself to God. And to be spiritually naked is to be self-revealing. It means that you don't just trot out the good, healthy, healed parts of yourselves or of your personality when you're with people. You express your vulnerable, clueless, hateful, depressed, lost, lonely parts as well. And very often what gets in the way of our receiving is anxiety. We feel anxious about sharing. The American Psychological Association defines anxiety as an emotion characterized by feelings of tension, worried thoughts, and physical changes. It can even be a state of increased blood pressure. So it can be either a state or a trait. And if it's a state, that can be just a temporary condition. A trait is sort of part of your character and personality. Worry is kind of the thinking part of anxiety. So if you have a project that you feel anxious about, I think it's useful to write down your achievements to date, what you've accomplished to date. And usually more has been accomplished than you think, and it will kind of relieve your anxiety. So when we say something like, she was receptive to my plan about reorganizing, you're not saying she was passive. A lot of people confuse receptivity with being passive. There's quite a distinction. A business owner who pays attention to what the customers want usually are successful. If we're not adept receivers and we're trying to control everything through our own efforts, it doesn't take into account anyone else's desires. So one of the recommendations of Amanda Owen is to receive everything and decide later. Receive everything and decide later. Mother Teresa and Doctors Without Borders are considered givers, and maybe your grandma or your son or your best friend are on that list too. But have you ever said about someone, that person is a fabulous receiver? Skilled receivers have healthier boundaries. They don't block information that's coming to them about other people. They don't block information that comes from the environment, not only the external environment, but the environment of their own intuition and feelings. And they don't block that information that comes from their feeling nature. So receive everything, decide later. Receive all the data from your environment, including, and then later just decide what you've received and what to do with that. So opening up your receptors helps you be better informed about what you do. I think Bev and I were talking about receiving this morning, and I was talking about Bill Barsma, who sent me a note that he couldn't be at the reception yesterday. He was mayor of the city for a while. And he told me, we served on a number of committees together in the community, and he told me that he had never been a mayor that had sold out, that he had integrity. A lot of these corporations try to buy you out, by campaign donations, and he said he'd never done that. He'd always been pure. He didn't use those words. I did. Anyway, I a couple of years ago got food poisoning and got dehydrated and went to the hospital, and they gave me an injection, and instead of it being saline solution, it was a glucose of some sort. So it raised my blood sugar to very dangerous levels. They gave me the wrong medication. And while I was in the hospital, I had this dream about Bill Barsma. And he came to me in the dream and he showed this vial of solution. And he said, make sure this was pure. And so I knew that I'd been given the wrong stuff. Anyway, I ended up getting a call from the president of the hospital. I didn't file any charges for them giving me the wrong stuff. But anyway, but that's an example of when you're in a receptive mode, you can get all kinds of information. And those of us who are in this spiritual center do get that kind of information. And it's very compelling, and well, you just feel the love of the universe when you can get that kind of communication and know exactly what's happening to you. There's a great little quote from Dinah Shore. She said that trouble is part of your life, and if you don't share it, don't give the person who loves you a chance to love you enough. So my message to you this week is just to be a receiver. Receive it all, wherever it comes from. Receive compliments, count your blessings, and be willing to be spiritually naked. I'd like to close with this idea. God is a sphere whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. And I, of my own self, cannot draw this picture of the immensity of God. I commune with this allness. And on the surface, I'm unique, like every snowflake is unique. But at the center of myself, I'm part of this great flow of life. I'm the flowing forth of the one. I am both giver and receiver, and I receive my blessings now. God bless you. Thank you.
So the words are in your program if you'd like to sing along to this one. Hari Om means dear God. Hari Om, dear Lord, Satnam, holy name. When I call on the light within, I go home. Hari Om, dear Lord, Satnam, holy name. When I call on the light within, I go home. I call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light, call on the light, call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light, call on the light, call on the light within. Come on, let's go. Hari Om, dear Lord, Satnam, holy name. When I call on the light within, I go home. Hari Om, dear Lord, Satnam, holy name. When I call on the light within, I go home. I call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light, call on the light. I call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light within. I call on the light, call on the light. I call on the light within. Hari Om, dear Lord, Satnam, holy name. When I call on the light within, I go home.
I'm sorry I didn't put the words in. But you could pick it up, yeah. Anyway. All right, so it's time for our offering, and we like to say the blessing that's in your program. Together we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
was so beautiful. This was absolutely a beautiful service. And I know that as we leave today, the words that we received, the wise words, the beautiful music, touches each of us. And I absolutely know that as this new week begins, that we step into the spirit of giving, the spirit of graciously receiving. For there is no limit. There are no limits in the world of God. There is absolutely pure abundance, pure joy, pure beauty, pure love, pure life. So let us just grab on to each of the beautiful aspects of God. Let us know and always remember that we are divinely guided, divinely supported, and therefore we give. We step up and we give, and we graciously receive. And I am grateful. I am so grateful for this opportunity to be among these beloveds today. And I know that each of us, as we begin a new week, we go with God. We are divinely guided, divinely supported. We give and we receive. And I simply say, thank you, God. And so it is. Thank you.
So I think there's one message we haven't shared, and that's I'm doing my Swan Song workshop on October 22nd, and you're all invited. It's free, and it's all on the creative process in Thomas Troward, actually. And if you want a credit for this class, all you have to do is write a paper and pay $45 to headquarters to register it. But I can make sure you get a credit for this intensive workshop. It'll be fun. It's Creative Mind, Mysticism, and Success, a transformative way to find your real life. So all you have to do is go to our website and register. And there's no charge, but I'd love to see all of you come. So that's it. We're going to have our closing song, and Anjali is singing Peace I Leave With You. We want lots of that, don't we? Now that's receptive.
This was a song that we sang in my church growing up, and I just rediscovered it a couple of months ago. Sounds very 70s. Peace I leave with you, my friends. Shalom, my peace in all you do. Peace I leave with you, my friends. I give
here. There's coffee in the back. Please join us and have a little fellowship. Or what do you say? What's the equivalent? Sistership? We'll have a little sistership in the back. Okay. Thank you.